An estimated 1.2 million homeless students are trying to get an education in our nation's schools, and those are only the ones we know about. Over the past number of years, the problem has been growing in the U.S. and here in mid-Missouri. There are resources in place. The question is, do we have enough tools to take care of what's sometimes referred to as America's youngest outcasts? At 26,000, the number of homeless students in our state equals roughly 60% of the entire population of Jefferson City.
You know, you wouldn't have thought that we'd have that many homeless children in Missouri, but we do have a large population of homelessness in Missouri.
Homelessness is the main reason a student leaves school before graduation. Some stats show homeless students are nearly 90% more likely to drop out. Since a high school diploma is required to get even some minimum wage making jobs, these disadvantaged students are more likely to live their lives in poverty, in need of government and community assistance. Since the Great Recession of 2008, about 62% of Americans have no emergency savings, making the disturbing adage, only a paycheck away from homelessness, more real than ever.
In the blink of an eye, things happen, things change, and you can be where we're at today. I never thought I'd stay in a shelter with my kids or, be homeless or anything like that.
But now this mother, her husband, and their 3 children live in a Columbia motel room. We'll call her Gloria. She says she's never had to ask for a handout before. Gloria says she and her husband had jobs, owned property, and provided for their children. Now they live in uncertain and even scary times. But she says her young children are getting what they need at school.
The schools, they were very helpful in getting the kids school supplies, signed up for free lunches right away, and busing that they needed and stuff, transportation.
The basics are provided through the McKinney-Vento Act. Its purpose is to help disadvantaged young people get some of the supplies and necessary tools to get their education.
It does help. It does. It really does help.
Donna Cash coordinates the McKinney-Vento Act for Missouri schools. It provides
free and reduced lunch, of course, is a big one for our families. They can have help with backpack or clothing issues, medical, dental services. There's about 16 allowable uses under McKinney-Vento, and I always tell everyone that 16 allowable use is anything extraordinary or necessary for that child to be successful in their education.
And Gloria says the way Columbia Public Schools administers McKinney-Vento is a lifesaver.
I felt relieved. It was like a pressure, just a ton of bricks off my shoulders.
Most of the needs of students that qualify for McKinney-Vento are paid for by Title I funds. Title I is a federal program through the U.S. Department of Education with the purpose of bridging the gap between low-income students and other students. One of the expenses not covered by Title I is transportation. With nearly 200 homeless students in Columbia Public Schools, it's expensive. Regardless, CPS Superintendent Dr. Peter Stiepelman says when a student loses a permanent residence, that child still needs to get to school regularly and on time.
We spend $11 million on transportation in the Columbia Public Schools. We get $2 million from the state. So $9 million is paid for by our local community. And some of that is absolutely due to 200 children that we're busing all over the district to get them back to their home schools.
The homeless student issue isn't going away anytime soon.
Absolutely is a growing concern. One that I do think our local, not just our local legislators, because it's a federal law, right, that we be able to talk with our reps to be able to talk about some of the burdens that we are faced with. We will always try to make the best decision for a child to provide consistency.
So far this year, the Jefferson City Public School System says 61 students are benefiting from McKinney-Vento. That's a lower number than last school year's total of 195, but this school year is far from over. Meanwhile, Donna Cash says hope doesn't just come in the form of tax dollars. She uses the Sedalia School District as an example of community cooperation.
Their program is unique in that I think they have a really combined effort, not only with the school district, but all the city involved, their churches. They have a program where people can go in and get whatever they need. If it's diapers, if it's a mattress today, or if it's water. I mean, so they've addressed their homeless population, and I think that really did impress me. It really did bring home the fact that they as a community knew they had a problem, and they weren't afraid to address it, and they took it on, and everybody's on board.
During these tough days for Gloria and her family, she agrees.
Yep, it does take a village, and I couldn't have done it without, all the staff of Columbia and the school district, all the great people.
I also asked Carla London, the supervisor of student and family advocacy at CPS, about some people who may fraudulently take advantage of the system. She says she's never seen that happen, but would take any complaint seriously to make sure the resources are available and used only for the students and families that need them.